This house is constantly throwing us little surprises, which are most of the time unwelcome. And I've just found the latest one. Pete is doing one of his literally world famous jigs. Literally world famous, Pete. We've got more steels arriving. So another lovely step forward. This steel is now in. I'm definitely giving DeWALT kudos for this. This is an awesome bit of kit. And it's just gone through it like a hot knife through butter. So there's a few things going on right now. We found another well, which we kind of knew there was going to be one here. Yet another one, but fortunately this one has been filled in already, it looks like. So we are going to have to do a little bit of excavation here because this is where we know our runs is going to go, just to make this a bit safer and better. We've got more steels arriving. Let's go and have a look. Here they are. So we've got loads more steels now to go in. These are looking excellent. We've also managed to borrow the wheel by the looks of it as well to get them down there. This is going to be the big boy, which is going to bridge across the kitchen, and then this one's going to go underneath the chimney stack, as is that one. So that one's going to sit on top of this one, and then we've got some various other ones as well, which are going to carry various other walls. But we can show you that further down the line. Right, let's get them off here and into there. So another lovely step forward. This steel is now in. You can now see pretty much its final resting place. We do need to do a little bit of adjustment, but what we have got to do also is drill some holes in here, around about here somewhere. So hopefully we can do it in situ and not have to take the steel down. But now you can see a bit better, I can explain a bit better. So running from that steel into this steel, which will sit just in the webbing of the steel in there, and obviously in the webbing of the steel of that one. So we need to drill some holes in this steel now to make sure that our plates fit in there, and likewise on that side. And then that steel that runs across there like this will then have another steel sat on top of it, which will go straight across here and basically counterbalance on the top, just so it will carry this extra meter here of this chimney stack. So we need to work out exactly what position we need it to be in, bearing in mind that all these bricks that are here are actually corbelled into that wall, so there's not actually that much pressure downward. It is obviously all taken by this wall as well. So we need to just figure out the final resting place of that steel, which will then interpret into the one above. So the issues that are going to arise with this is obviously we need to get high enough up here to take both steels in there and easily get to it, and also getting in there to drill the holes is going to be a bit of a nightmare. We may end up having to take the steel out, or rather than use the mag drill, we might have to use just a normal drill and drill through it. Obviously a mag drill is a lot easier, a lot safer, a lot quicker, but because of where it sits and also the depth of the steel, we may not be able to get in there, but we'll have a look at that and see what we can do, because obviously a mag drill is a lot easier. They're getting the steels in now ready. I'm just going to get everything set up, and I'm going to start out here getting that cleared. Right, let's do it. Right then guys, so I'm just on the oversight here. Like I mentioned before, we need to get 150mm of MOT in here, purely because this was outside. This was inside, so this is fine. Because this is outside, we just got to scrape this down, literally to this line where I am now. So I've just set up, like I showed you before, with Pete's laser and my special stick. So we can just go around there and make sure that we're all good. We're either below or on that line, and that means then we've got 150mm of stone in here, and that will bring us up level with this floor. Yeah, so then once this is all compact down, we need to be fully level with that floor, and then we can get sand blind on top of this, and then put our DPM down, and then we can get our 100mm slab on top of that. So I've just got a little bit more to scrape out here, just basically up to where my tracks are there, and then just up to the edge of this footing. Chuck that over there, hopefully get that done in time, ready for when our grab lorry comes. No pressure. The boys have been making steady progress up here. So basically, like I mentioned before, we need to drill some holes in that steel and this steel over here. And we always knew it was going to be a bit of a struggle to get this mag drill in there. Pete has managed to drill the holes in the bottom, but now Pete is doing one of his literally world famous jigs. Literally world famous, Pete. He's getting the jig sorted out in here so we can basically offset the mag drill slightly and get it in to drill the holes in the top. What are you doing, Pete?
Well, we don't really know until we've offered it up, so this might be a wasted film. So.
Yeah, it's fine. It's going to work.
Yeah. Basically, as anyone knows, when they're drilling steels into the web, we've got a radius to deal with. Unfortunately, because of the radius, we're quite literally 10 mil away from being able to get in close enough. So I'm hoping if I get this timber, which is now wedged in there, nice and solid, I'll be able to connect the mag drill to that, get it right close to the top. We're going to have the clearance that we need to get the holes drilled. So fingers crossed that's going to work.
Fingers crossed, mate. I've got everything. Results. So, Pete, did it work?
It has worked, yes.
It has worked.
Happy days.
Okay, look at that. Fits perfectly in there.
Yeah,
bang on the line. So that means now you can drill that top hole.
Yeah, that's it. So we're looking good. So got my handle in, ready to go. Magnets on.
Right, so Pete has worked his magic and he's got all the holes drilled in the steels that we need, which means now we can get this one back up there, get it bolted into situ, and then get the other one on top. What we do need to do before we actually bolt everything together though is get the smaller one, the cantilever one, on top of there. We've already pre-drilled these holes here, so once this is up in place we can then get the smaller cantilever steel on top, mark where those holes are that we've pre-drilled, whip that down, drill them holes, and then we can get it all bolted together and get it up there, and then we can get it all bricked up and get these out of the way. So now we've got our steel across here, and you can also see our cantilever beam which is in. So that is basically sat on top of these steels, and then the weight of all this section here will hold that in situ and stop it tipping over. We have put some additional bolts through here as well in between this steel and that steel just to hold everything tight while the brickwork goes on, and just to make sure nothing slips basically. Not that it will, because obviously there's going to just be downward pressure on this. There's not going to be any pressures anywhere else to make it slide. But we just put some extra bolts in there just for bout and braces to make sure it doesn't slip. That's it. We've had a very productive day. Lots has been done, so it's time to go home. We'll see you in the morning. So, this morning we had a little bit of an epiphany. So we got our steels in yesterday, as you saw, but what we do have is like a 160mm gap between our steel and our wall. So downstairs it may not cause us a problem because we have got tanking on here which comes out quite a bit, and then we've also got our dry lining stud work to go in. So by the time we've got all that on, the plasterboard carrying across the top isn't going to be too bad. But we've also got the issue then of upstairs of the floor. There's going to be a bit of floating floor. So what we've decided to do is basically put a timber in between the wall and the steel just to make sure we've got something to carry the plasterboard. And also we'll need to attach our stud work to the top, well, to the underside of this timber, and also the floor will then have something to go on top and to mechanically fix down to. What we've done is slid the steel out like you can see there. Alex is also currently just bricking up the underside of this chimney stack because we were slightly concerned, because these are still open stacks, we may have got debris falling down the back and coming down the back of our tanking. So the tanking system that we're going to be using has got a slot drain which basically runs around the perimeter of the building. So what that could have meant is that debris could have fallen down the back of this tank in here and then gone into the drain and ultimately blocked the drain up. By doing this, that eliminates any of that at all. So that's one good thing. Right, so I've got this timber here. Unfortunately, I could only get an 8x3 off the shelf. We have got to get a special order in of 7x3s, which is what's been spec'd for this floor because it's quite a large span. So we're using 3-inch timber rather than 2-inch. So I've had to get an 8x3 for now just to get that in there. So I'm just going to get this ripped down, get the profile of the steel cut on the ends, and then we can get that in, get our steel back in, get our other steel bolted back on top, and then it can all be bricked in and we're good to go. This is another job off the list. Right, so what I've done is rip this monster timber down to the right size that we needed. If you've watched this channel, you will know that me and Pete have got a little bit of an adversary going on when it comes to tools. So I am a Makita man and Pete is a DeWALT man. Pete's not here to defend himself now, so obviously I'm going to say Makita are much better, in my personal opinion. However, I've just used Pete's 54 volt circuit saw to cut this, to rip this down, and I have to say, it's pretty damn good, to be fair. It's a 3-inch timber and it's just gone through it like a hot knife through butter. So I'm definitely giving DeWALT kudos for this. This is an awesome bit of kit. It is 54 volt, like I said, so it just ate this like it was nothing. I'm still on 18 volt. I haven't made the leap yet to 40 volt, but I am on the cusp of doing so. I have just bought some new kit, which is 18 volt, but it's stuff that isn't really giving me the benefit as if it's a 40 volt, in my opinion. So other things like an impact driver, combi drill, stuff like that, I am going to be looking at 40 volt in the future. But anyway, I'm digressing. This, definitely beast. Thank you, Pete. And I will bow down to the DeWALT for the 54 volt circuit saw. Now that I've eaten some humble pie, I've got this ripped down like I mentioned. I did do it a little bit thicker than I needed to, purely because I wanted to be able to plane it down afterwards to make sure I got a nice flat finish, because sometimes when you're doing 2 cuts, because this hasn't got the full depth of cut to go through the 3 inches, I had to do it in 2 passes, flip it over, cut one side, then flip it back over and do the other side. So I thought there may be a bit of discrepancy in the two, but it was actually pretty good, to be fair. So I only needed a little pass just to bring it down to the thickness that I want, the overall height that I wanted. Now we've done that, just knocking up a little template like this, because this timber's got to sit in the webbings of both steels. They are 2 different steels as well. That's a 203, that's a 152. So I've got to do 2 different templates for either end. So I'm just going to get this knocked up now with my jigsaw, get that on there, get that end cut, make another one for that side, do the same that end, and then we can get it in and get everything bricked up and we're good to go. Right, let's do it. Good morning, guys. Wow, it's still just about morning. So this morning we've been having a big tidy up, just clearing the site of stuff that we don't need, because it's quite easy to get bogged down with stuff. We've got rid of a load of acros, load of bricks that were lying around from the rip out, just loads of stuff basically. So I haven't done any filming so far this morning, but we are now ready to start smashing through it. So, afternoon, boys. James has been slaving away in here, haven't you, James? So basically we've got, as I've mentioned a million times, a 4-inch pipe coming down here to take all the services from the bathroom upstairs, which will drop straight down here, which unfortunately is where we've put a slab for this. So James is having to do a little hand dig through here. I say a little hand dig, it's basically a monumental hand dig, which has been a bit of a nightmare, mate. Sorry. James now hates me officially. So what they're doing basically is just getting all these runs in for the drainage. I've managed to get the main run out with the digger, but unfortunately I can't get the digger in bits like this. So this is all hand dig. That will then join into this across here, and then there's also another dig to do across there to take the water from outside. Ian is just working on these openings here, so you can just see where he's cutting these down. What we're doing is making this window here the same width as the one upstairs, just so it looks better from the outside and it allows more light to come through. So he's just working on this now. So before I carry on digging out for the drainage down here, just gonna have a bit of a tidy up here. As you probably know by now, we like to keep things tip top and in ship shape condition and nice and tidy, because a tidy site is a happy site and all that, and it just makes life easier rather than having stuff everywhere. So we're just basically tidying up here. I'm just going to prepare this area here, get rid of all that, get rid of the stuff down the back here, all this greenery here. Then we can move some of the bits that we've got there over to this point here, and then we can get another pallet in there behind there for storage, and also we'll probably be able to get another 2 pallets down here as well. Pretty soon we are going to have loads more bricks and blocks, load of sand, cement, all that sort of stuff here, landing obviously so we can get the shallot. So this will mean we've just got that bit extra storage, which will make all the difference. It's not a tiny site, but it's quite tight. We've got some machinery here, we've got lots of stuff here, so the tidier you can keep it, the better. So that is what I'm going to just quickly crack on with now. So, this house is constantly throwing us little surprises, which are most of the time unwelcome. And I've just found the latest one. This nice little water pipe, some random water pipe just here, lying down. So I've just scraped away at this and I've exposed that, and there's water chucking out everywhere. Fortunately the stopcock's just down there, so I've just turned that off. But it does mean now I'm going to need to get this capped off. Oh dear, there is always something. Never mind, it's all part of the fun. Right then, so I've just had a quick chat with the plumber and I've done a very temporary and rudimentary fix. I've basically hammered the lead pipe over to flatten it off and then crimped it over like that, and that has solved the problem for now. Obviously we are going to be putting a new water main in, so this is literally just a temporary fix. It's not going to go anywhere now. I will put something around this to mark it to make sure that nobody hits it again, especially as we're putting pallets here. That needs to obviously be safe and not chuck a load of water out everywhere. But for now that will do nicely and we can carry on. The water's back on now, it's not leaking, so I'm happy with that, so we can get cracking. Boom. Right then guys, that's the end of another episode. So in the next one, it's a special one because Pete is going to make a jig and he's going to stick these bricks together and he's going to show you exactly how he did it. Obviously this angle's a bit funny on this building, so we had to get around it and we found the way. Pete's made some amazing jigs as ever, so the next one's a very special episode, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. Also, if you have enjoyed this video, give us a big thumbs up, and if you're not yet subscribed, please make sure you do. 100,000 on the brink of it. We need to get there, we need your help to get there. Let's do it, come on guys, you can help us. Also, one more thing, True Trade, if you are in the trade, head over to truetrade.co.uk and make use of the huge amount of tools that are there to help you streamline your business and ultimately make you more money, which is what we want, isn't it? Take care guys, see you soon.